Are you ready to master the waves of medical device product development? Well, wax up your surfboard because you are listening to Inspired by Imua. And here is your medical device product development expert, that Hawaiian-hearted hostess who will help you hang 10, Meghan Alonso.
Komo mai and aloha. Today's guest is one of the most influential people on LinkedIn and can also help those in product development at any stage with their marketing communication strategy. Please welcome Joe Hage. Aloha, Joe. So tell us what you have going on LinkedIn.
Wow, that was a very generous introduction, Meghan. And if I'm not mistaken, I am podcast number 1.
You are.
And I am honored by this.
Very good.
So what's going on LinkedIn? Well, as you know, I lead a group on LinkedIn called the Medical Devices Group. And as of this recording in April 2016, we have 311,000 members worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah, it got to be wow. And I attribute that to the community that has been very generous with their expertise, you included. We have subgroups, and we have folks who ask good questions and give good answers. And I take great care to make sure we keep spam out of there so it can actually be a valuable resource.
So why is it important to be plugged in to the groups, and why do you think networking is valuable in our industry?
Well, I think it's valuable everywhere. It's a lot easier to call up a buddy and say, hey, I need you to be my first guest on my podcast than writing a stranger and saying, hey, I'm starting a podcast, because friends of Meghan will do anything for Meghan. Well, same for friends of Joe and friends of friends. So I have a client right now who is in a very specific space in medical devices, specifically in energy delivery, and he has a very narrow focus, and we're going company by company to see who we know in our combined networks. Because that's far more valuable a way to start a conversation than, hey, I saw you're on LinkedIn, which is rather tiresome, actually. A lot of us get emails from complete strangers. It's always better to have a warm intro. You know that.
Yeah, and here's a tip. So if you are cold emailing someone on LinkedIn, don't just request them to be in your network. Add that little personal touch to their request.
And more than that, give them a reason to care. What's in it for them?
There you go.
So I know that one of the reasons you asked me to be on, and thank you, is because I do marketing for a living. I specialize in marketing communication and strategy, lead generation, and website development for medical device and related companies. And my very first piece of advice for your listeners is it's always got to be about them. Mm-hmm. You may, in fact, need something, but that's not their problem. So if you reach out to someone, make sure you put it in the context of why should they care? And, a mutual friend or a shared group, or I saw a comment you made on a discussion that really intrigued me. Something that says, I actually did a little bit of homework. You intrigued me, and I hope to have a conversation with you is better than, hi, I'm blank and I'm doing this. Please click here. It's like, why did you contact me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great advice that our guests can take away. So you mentioned you help people with medical marketing communications. So how did you end up in the medical device industry?
Well, I'll keep this part short to keep the interview interesting, because people don't really need to know about my long background. But I'm 20 plus years in marketing, Kraft, Campbell's, advertising, and my last job was as director of marketing communications for a publicly traded medical device company. And when they were bought out by an Indian concern, I went out on my own 5 years ago, and surprisingly, we still have a home. So something's working.
Woohoo!
Yeah, something's working, and I'm excited about your new enterprise.
Well, thank you. So speaking of make it all about them, Joe has a free gift for you, so we'll get into that later, but I want to pick Joe's brain a little bit here. So marketing communications is applicable in product development at any stage. So Let's see. If a company is early stage and they're pitching for investments, I know a lot of mistakes are made and things are done wrong. What are some things that they can do to avoid making these mistakes, or what are some tips that you have for that type of marketing communications?
So because I have the great big group, I get a lot of unsolicited email. Most of it's welcome. But when I get an email from someone saying, hey, Joe, do you know anybody with money? We're doing a raise. That's just not the right question to ask. And it's not because it would require me to use my personal capital with someone to say, I trust what Bill is doing. I've read the plan. I understand the strategy. I think it's good, and therefore I'm bringing it to you. As opposed to, hey, some guy asked me for money. I know you're rich, so would you talk to him? It's like, are you kidding? No one would do that. So one mistake that I see over and over and over again is, hey, you know me, I'm doing something, I need money, can you help? Your influencers, like me, need more than that to feel good about using what capital we have with our network to introduce you. So perhaps a better question or a better way to frame things is to, again, what's in it for me? Help me understand what you're doing that's unique that would excite someone who might be interested in investing in you. And that doesn't mean load me down with features and benefits. It means, I'll share this anecdote. I met a fellow at a networking event, and I was playing the role of interviewer. So I interviewed him and was talking about his innovation, which I learned was something that only 3 players in the market were doing, anything related to it. And I said, so why should we care about yours? And he said, well, they haven't touched this product in 60 years, and for them it's an afterthought. These are J&J, major companies. This is a small division. So he found one way to make that product better. And then he approached J&J and others and said, here's something that I've worked on, and it can be the innovation that you haven't invested in. And all 3 of the major players, each of them have a third of the market, are interested in potentially working with him, buying him out, distributing it, replacing their product. He came up with a unique problem to solve that was not being met by current products. It already has a CPT code. He already has strategic backing from major companies, and that, frankly, is the first private investment I've ever made in a medical device. So I've happily told a dozen of my quote-unquote rich friends, if you're looking to invest in medical devices, I have one that I was willing to put my money behind. That says a lot more than, I know a guy who built a thing and needs some money. Do you want to talk to him?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, good. Okay, what about later on in development or when they're mapping out their sales launch? What Marcom tips do you have then?
Well, everything is storytelling, really. Once again, I'll say what's in it for me, the reader of your website, the listener to your phone call, to your pitch. Frame things in a way that we understand what your primary benefit is and why we should be able to believe that you can uniquely deliver on it. Help us understand what the competitive frame is. If you're launching in the U.S., really anywhere, but especially the U.S., we're going to need to know who's going to pay. So be very familiar with reimbursement. In fact, having a conversation with someone like Beth Brooks over Decision Drivers about reimbursement before you get too far down your product development path is critical, so you can see if there's going to be a market of people who can actually afford the thing that you're building. If it's a brand new concept, there may not be a reimbursement code for it. If it's a thing to replace something that's already in the market, why should someone switch from what they're doing to what you have? Is the benefit so incremental that they're willing to go through purchasing and GPOs, HMOs, the whole gamut of organizations that go into these very complex decisions about who is going to be a buyer for you? I'm sure there's a follow-up to the question. I've kind of rambled myself into a little corner.
I think you answered it pretty well. So the next one I want to ask about is someone that has their product on the market, and I know sometimes with medical devices, communication needs to be pretty clear with the claims that the device is making. So what advice do you have on that?
I'm a bit of a broken record really here, and it shouldn't surprise you that since I start with communication, that I advise my clients to do the same. I need to hear a really crisp understanding of who the target is and what problem they presently have and how you're going to solve it and why I should believe you before I'll even take a client. So that story has to be very easy to glean from a quick glance at a website. Or, we've all heard the term elevator pitch. They're important. When you meet someone over a cocktail and they say, so what do you do? If you start with or well or something that's other than a crisp, if you are this kind of person and you have this kind of need, we should talk. Or if you know someone who might have that need, you're welcome to put me in touch with them so that they know specifically what your value proposition is. I can't stress it enough. Without that, what's the point of the rest of it? I'll have people say, can you put me in touch with so-and-so and so-and-so? And I'll say, yes, but what's the story? Mm-hmm. Unless I have a clear story to communicate about why they should care, why would I have them call you? And it's also why I won't basically do much with a client other than talk strategy before we start working on improving, most often, their website, because it's like, would you have people over your house before you cleaned up? That's what it's like doing a lead generation campaign and sending people to your site, and they get there and they're like, what is this? I don't even know what I'm reading here. Or you don't put them in a clear place that identifies that they're in the right place for their specific need set.
Mm-hmm. And Joe, your website is an excellent example of this. So I like how you ask the user those questions, and depending on their answers, they can quickly determine if they're in the right place for them or not.
I have a luxury being a sole proprietor. I get to, most brands with a strong leadership team can get to here, but I embrace the fact that I am not the right answer for a host of prospects, even if they are in medical devices and they need someone who does medical device marketing. I may not be the right answer for them. And so I'm very clear in my communication so that people who read my content and say, I get this guy, we're going to be great friends and we're going to work together. And if someone reads my stuff and is like, yeah, I don't really like his tone, well, guess what? We wouldn't get through the second week before you discovered the tone live, and we wasted both of one another's time. So I'm very comfortable having a very specific way that I approach the market, and for the half dozen or so who say yes during the course of a year, great, I can feed my family. And for the hundreds or thousands of others who visit my properties and say, yeah, but no, that's okay. That works.
Yeah, and I think that's great. There's lots of different personalities out there, and it's just got to click, and you got to do business with someone you like.
Mm-hmm. Like Joe and Meghan.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So speaking of Joe and Meghan, We are going to be seeing each other soon at your
4
conference.
weeks. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So you're referring to the TEDx Medical Device Conference. I host it the first week of May each year, and I think Southern California will be its permanent home. This will be our second year in San Diego. I already plan to be back there in 2017.
Woohoo! So
Yay.
excited.
And that'll be our 5th year. We limit participation to 200 guests, and this particular conference is really about networking. Putting it this way, the industry didn't need another medical device conference, but because I lead this great big group, I wanted to meet the people in it. And so what started as Joe wants to meet people became an event that's gotten some traction. So there are 10 hours of speakers, but 10 hours of networking, ice cream and breakfasts and lunches and drinks. And I have a section just called Playtime, where we're just going to hang out. Mm-hmm. There are some people who call and say, is this right for me? And I explain completely what it is and tell some people no, and other people, yes. I'm looking for people who share this kind of open heart of coming and talking and sharing ideas. And some of the ideas will work out really well for you, and some of them will be you giving to someone else and building your network. So it's, some people say, look, if I can't get an ROI, if I can't see that there are going to be a dozen people that I can call on and convert into clients, I don't want to come. I say, then please don't, because that's not what this is. And anyone who wants to show up and spray business cards at my friends, I say, no, thank you. I protect this community that I've built, and I'm glad you're part of it. And when I have a chance to introduce you personally to someone, you know that I will. Mm-hmm. And so goes the expression for the other 199 in the room.
Yeah, and I went last year. I really enjoyed it, and it is that more intimate setting, and it's definitely not a place where you're going to get a lot of leads, but you invest in those relationships that you make there, and the leads come from that. So just showing up, like Joe said, with an open heart and expecting just to get to know people, that's when things are going to happen later because of those investments.
I know people who become CEOs, have joined boards, have gotten jobs, and that's great. And there are others who just made new best friends and they refer business to one another, or, you know, now I have someone who's a friend in reimbursement and I know I can call her whenever I need her.
Exactly.
That's what makes it all worthwhile for me. And you brought Abby last year.
I did.
Some of your listeners might not know who Abby is.
So Abby is my dog. She's a little over 3 years now. She's a husky. So she came last year and worked the registration table with me, but unfortunately she had a stomach bug, so we had to leave early.
Yes.
So
is she coming this year?
She's not. She's going to stay home.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I made a coupon code for your friends.
Oh yeah, so you can, where can they register for this event, first of all? Or find out more information?
The website is medicaldeviceevents.com. That's one device and two events, medicaldeviceevents.com. And at checkout, why don't you tell them what the code is?
So the promo code is Imua, that's IMUA. And
that'll save you $30 off our reception.
Mm-hmm. So it's May 2nd through the 4th in San Diego. Don't worry if you're not in San Diego, because it's very close to the airport. It's actually, the hotel has a free shuttle to and from the airport.
It's a 1.5 miles away from the airport, and I'm pretty sure that most of your guests will be closer than my guests flying in from Nigeria, Australia, Finland, Norway. I've lost track. But it's wonderful that, frankly, I always thought that people who could drive to my thing would show up. And for people to come from all around the world makes it very satisfying.
Yeah, that's great. I'm even more excited now.
Yeah.
So in addition to to that bonus, Joe has another bonus. You mentioned lead generation earlier. So talk to us about the lead generation giveaway you have.
So this is beyond my lead generation giveaway. I would leave your listeners with three main thoughts about what's important in medical device marketing. Number one is, can you be found? And that can be as simple as you have a website that I can find on Google or I can type in, but there are some that are just starting and they're not ranked and I just can't find them. I want to find out more about them, and the only thing I can find is that they got funding somewhere and I can't find any more information about them. So it's hard to attract a lot of interest unless there's a place that we can read about you. So number one is, can you be found? And that could be having your site optimized for search engines, or it could be a host of other things. We could talk about that. But number one is, can you be found? Number two is, when you're found, are you engaging? And that goes back to my, is your house clean or dirty when I come over? If it's a mess, I'm just going to leave and I'm not going to read and I'm not going to get the point. So make sure your house is in order before you invite someone over. Have crisp, clear communication on your site about what you offer and why someone might get in touch with you. And third is, when you engage them and they decide they are in the right place, you want to give them a reason to leave their contact information with you. And you can typically do that with a giveaway of some kind. In my case, I have a 25-page PDF about the 10 strategies that you might consider to get someone to leave their contact information with you, which is valuable in the field of medical device marketing, and it's a free download, and all I ask you to do is to share your email address. I've chosen to merely ask for that one data point so that you can get the thing. Others have long forms. I tend to shy away from them. If people see themselves as a correct member of the audience, they'll be back, and I have a way to send them future emails as I see fit. So in sum, number one, can you be found? Number two is, are you engaging? And number three is there a way for me to let you know who I am? In my case, Meghan's referring to that ebook. You can find it at medicalmarcom.com. That's medical and then MARCOM.com. And it's pretty available for you to download. You'll see it there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, great. Well, Joe, thanks for being on the show with us today.
And I was guest number one.
You were.
That was nice.
Yeah, well, I will see you in a few weeks at 10X.
Excellent.
Guys, we are all done. In other words, Pauhana. And speaking of Hawaiian words, Ohana means family, and family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. Those waves of medical device development can be rough, so we have our own Ohana in a Facebook group we've started. So go check out Inspired by Imua. Just type that in the search bar in Facebook, and you guys can share resources, share insight, inspiration, just talk shop, and help each other master the waves of medical device development. So see you in there. And until next time, Imua!
Mahalo for joining us. If you're new to riding the waves of medical device product development, or if you've been in development for a while already, Inspired by Imua is here to surf with you. Want to be a master of the waves? Text HANG10, that's HANGTEN, to 44222. We'll send you the most common wipeouts companies make in product development so you can avoid them and reach master wave status. Again, that's HANG10 to 44222. We publish a new episode every Tuesday, so catch us at inspiredbyimua.com. Imua!